All right, coming up on Friday, we have Michigan State playing at Wisconsin. I think this is going to be probably a more interesting game than some people realize. I think Michigan State has more talent than what they've shown with their record this year, and Wisconsin's a very good team at home. So this has the possibility of a blowout. Don't get me wrong, but I think if Michigan State plays a good game, they could make this interesting. You're shaking your head, Kent. You think it's a blowout all the way?
Oh no, I'm with you. I don't think it's going to be a blowout at all. That's why
Oh,
I was
okay,
it was kind of a like, there's no way this is going to be a blowout. I don't think.
gotcha.
Yeah.
I think it has the potential for it. Like if Wisconsin goes on one of those crazy runs and AJ Storr really gets cooking or something like that, I think it could happen. But I also think Tom Izzo is one of those coaches that he's not going to let that happen. You know what I'm saying? He's been close in basically every single game this season. So Lee, going into it, what are your thoughts on Michigan State at Wisconsin?
Yeah, I think everybody was super high on Michigan State, and then they thought the sky was falling when they lost to James Madison. And then you look into what James Madison has done this year, and it's not that bad of a loss. Michigan State certainly has the pieces. Tyson Walker is probably a top 3, 4 guard in the conference. So I think Michigan State has a shot. I think that Ken Palm prediction is probably pretty close, and I wouldn't be entirely shocked if Michigan State beat them. I think if Michigan State puts everything together, they're probably just as good as anybody else in the conference. So, like I said, I haven't seen a whole lot of Wisconsin this year, but I think they're living up to their ranking and to their hype. So it should be a good one for sure.
Yeah, Fisherman says, oh, oops, there we go. Fisherman says Wisconsin wins easy in this one.
You have to get Fisherman on the show. My man he's faithful. Holy smokes.
If we ever do a wrestling podcast, we'll get Fisherman on here.
Yeah,
He's more of a wrestling fan. So, Kent, what are your thoughts on the game?
I don't think Michigan State is going to win the game, but I don't think that it's going to be Wisconsin wins easy either. I like Wisconsin. I love Wisconsin. I've talked about them. I think they could still be a 1 seed. I've said all the nice things about Wisconsin. But the reason why they're going to win this game is because, and I think even Tom Izzo would admit this, the struggles that they have defending the post. And that is not a struggle that you want to have going to Wisconsin, of all places, because they have some really good post players and they will kill you inside if you let them. I think that that's going to be a difference in the game. But here's what I really think is going to happen. And I pulled up some fun stats for you guys tonight on this one. I think this is going to be such a close game that it's going to come down to one thing and one thing only. It's going to be the free throws. And here's the fun stats about the free throws. Wisconsin, number 1 free throw percentage in the Big Ten, 77%. Wisconsin, they rank 10th in the conference at opponents' free throw attempts, which is really good, by the way. You want to be low on that list, right? So they're 10th in that, and they shoot a really high percentage. Okay. Michigan State, on the other side, they have attempted 250 free throws this year total. That is 13th out of 14 in the Big Ten. Only Northwestern is behind them. And when they finally do get to the line, they are 11th in the conference, shooting only 70%. So you put all those things together, you get a close game at Wisconsin, and you have a team that can't get to the line. And when they do, they can't knock down free throws. And then you have another team that doesn't let other teams get to the line. And when they get to the line, they knock them down. I think that that's going to be the difference in the game. I see Wisconsin winning it by 5 because I do think, like Lee was saying, Michigan State has 2 of the best guards in the conference. I've talked about my disdain for AJ Hoggard multiple times on multiple different shows. I don't like him. But he is a good point guard for what Michigan State needs at times. And then Tyson Walker is one of my favorite players, top 5 player overall, just for me personally. He's right up there near Tony Perkins. He's not touching him ever, but really good guard, Tyson Walker. And then some other guys like Cohen Carr has been giving them some good minutes, and they're starting to put some things together. And here's the other thing too. Tom Izzo hasn't even woke up yet. It's January still. This guy's still asleep. He's not getting excited about this. Like, he starts playing in February, You know how like John Rothstein says, like, we sleep in March or April or whatever? Like Tom Izzo just woke up. He just started coaching. So like, yeah, I think that they're starting to figure it out, which is why I think it will be a close game. But I do think in the end, if it comes down to the free throws, which I think it will, Wisconsin's going to get that narrow victory.
Yeah, I think the thing to watch in this one to see if it gets close is how well Wisconsin can get to the free throw line, because even though Michigan State does have, a good amount of personal fouls per game. In this one, they have 18 personal fouls per game, which is not great. It's good. It's not great. But their efficiency for how many personal fouls they get is very, very good. So even though they get 18, that comes down because of the efficiency of how many possessions the other team gets and stuff like that. But Wisconsin, they thrive on getting to the free throw line and making a good percentage of their free throws. They shoot 78% from the free throw line as a team, which is really, really good for them. And with Michigan State, they don't get to the free throw line as much, and they only shoot 70% from the free throw line. So not as good for them. But I think that's going to be kind of an underrated piece to this game is, can Michigan State play defense without fouling, or can Wisconsin get themselves in the line and make a high percentage of these free throws like they normally do in this game? Because the pace is going to be slowed down a little bit in this one. And, because that's just kind of the way Wisconsin plays. It's kind of crazy. Wisconsin has one of the slowest paces in college basketball, but they're
Really?
one of the best. Yeah. They have a 64.3, which is has a rating of 9 in so like percentage rating of the other teams or whatever in college basketball. They're 9th. Which is like really, really low. It's like super red on CBB Analytics, which, by the way, I forgot to add for that. CBB Analytics, check them out. But they, Michigan State, they're not much faster either. They're 66 compared to 64, but I know pace isn't, the most popular thing to talk about, but it is real in this case because Wisconsin is just super efficient in this one.
One thing I would like to say is, and it'll be interesting to see. I think if Wisconsin can get back after they make their shots, that's what killed Maryland when Michigan State play. I mean, they get the ball out of the hoop and they're ready to go. So they got probably 10 or 12 easy layups off of Maryland when we played them off of made baskets by Maryland. And, that could be something to watch in this game as well, I think.
Yeah, that was actually the other thing I was going to point out, but I forgot. I was trying to remember it there, so I'm glad you said that. Wisconsin is in the 11th percentile in fast break points per game, only 6, and Michigan State is in the 97th percentile in their fast break points per game with 15. So, I mean, they're averaging more than double what Wisconsin does in fast break points per game in this one. So, it'll be really, really interesting to see how this goes. Michigan State, like you said, Lee, they like to get the ball, get out running. Wisconsin, they kind of like to possess that thing, set up their half court offense. But we'll see. This is a very interesting matchup, probably more interesting than I think some people realize. And I mean, if I'm going to take a coaching matchup, don't get me wrong, I think Greg Gard has done great this season, but Tom Izzo is one of the best to ever do it. I think he's still got it in him to really coach these guys up. So, Kent, you got any more thoughts?
Yeah, I was just thinking about, as you guys were talking about that fast break stuff, Trey Holloman for Michigan State is going to be a big factor in this game, too, because he had a great game against Maryland. Mm-hmm. And I think one of his better games of the year, especially shooting-wise. I think he made 3 3-pointers in that game. And then, if he doesn't do that against Wisconsin, I don't know who else is going to do it besides, because you remember at the beginning of the year, it was all Tyson Walker, right? And it was like, who's going to give Tyson Walker help? Who's going to give him help? Like Hogarth wasn't doing it. Malik Hall wasn't doing it. Well, those guys are starting to come around now. Jaden Akins is starting to play a little bit better. So, but really, I think that Wisconsin can, kind of neutralize those other guys, just starter on starter, Walker versus Hepburn and, Hogarth versus Hepburn and like Walker versus, I don't know who would guard him, maybe Storr. So I think that matchup wise, I think that they can neutralize the starters, but a guy like Trey Holloman, if he comes off the bench and gets hot, that's a way that Michigan State could win this game.
Yeah, No, I think so too. I think if they can get them together out there, and you're exactly right. AJ Hogard, he's been averaging over 5 assists per game in his last 5 games. So I know he's not everybody's favorite player. Definitely not your favorite player, Kent, but he does do a good job of distributing the ball. He's shooting a rather low percentage right now, but if he can distribute and especially get it to the open guy like a Tyson Walker, like a Malik Hall, and make those things happen, it'll be really interesting. So I will pick Wisconsin. I think Ken Palm is right, but I'll probably go with 7-8 point win for Wisconsin. But I think they'll just pull ahead. I think it'll be a close game. I think they'll just kind of pull ahead with some free throws and stuff like that. So Lee, who do you have in this game?
Yeah, I like Wisconsin in this, but like I said, I wouldn't be entirely shocked if Michigan State potentially pulled it off. But I think, 5's probably close, but I agree. I think towards the end it could get into foul or free throws, and Wisconsin might win the game by 7, 8, maybe even 10, depending on if they're fouling or not.
Right, and that's kind of like the death sentence if you're against Wisconsin. That's how they're able to win some of these games at the end of it. If you just start fouling Wisconsin, like I said, they have really good free throw percentage and they can make free throws really well. So,
right, I forgot to mention this too. I'm sorry. Connor Esigian liked one of my tweets the other night. So so we're friends now, and I think we're hanging out soon. He hasn't messaged me or anything yet. So, but usually you like somebody's tweet and then a hangout happens soon after that, right? Is that how that goes?
On Instagram, if you like the girl's tweet last 3 posts, then that's
the DM's definitely coming. The DM's definitly coming for sure.
My wife watches a lot of those Love Island shows or whatever, and so unfortunately I have to sit there and the one girl was like, he liked my last 3 posts, so that means the DMs are open. And so I think that's the same thing with Connor Esigian here. That's probably him saying he wants to come on your show, Kent.
Probably. I'd love to have him on. The thing is, last time I was on, I was talking about how I was in Coleman Hawkins' DM. So I can't come on the show every time and just be like, I'm pulling up in every college basketball player's DM.
You're starting to sound thirsty. You're starting to sound thirsty. Yeah.
What's that?
You're starting to sound thirsty, like you're trying to get in everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I didn't want to DM Connor and be like, hey man, appreciate the like, dude. Let's get you on the show. It just seems like a little bit much. I will say the one guy that I have messaged for real though, back and forth is my guy Parker Fox from Minnesota. That's my dude.
Oh, really?
I love him. Yeah.
He was having a good game against Wisconsin.
He was. He tried to dunk from the free throw line at one point. It was hilarious. I was gonna message him that night about it, but they lost, so I didn't feel like that was appropriate.
That guy's got a motor. I will say I thought he was going to break his neck a couple of times in the Maryland game. He took some nasty falls, especially with their elevated court.
Yeah.
All right, I got to get this Michigan State Wisconsin preview off there because we're no longer previewing that game.
Talking about the DMs now.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to the Big Ten Huddle. Please do like and subscribe. We appreciate that. If this was your first time listening, we are the Big Ten Huddle. We cover all things Big Ten football and basketball. We have a long episode every Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, all at 9 o'clock. So come in, check us out, get in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. We would love to have you join us and learn more about the Big Ten.